Poke Nerds, welcome in. Happy Monday. Hopefully Monday is not Mondaying too hard for you. Hopefully you had some fun Poke plans over the weekend. Today we have a fun one. One underrated card from every single set in the Scarlet and Violet block. And it has to be a special illustration rare. That made it really difficult because there's some sets in Scarlet and Violet where the special illustration rares are not necessarily that set's strong suit. A lot of sets really have some fantastic illustration rares, but struggle in the special illustration rare department a little bit. So what is an undervalued, underrated special illustration rare? To me, it's one that simply isn't receiving enough attention in the market. It's one that I think if you add to your collection now or your portfolio now, depending on how you look at things, it has a very good chance to, in a year's time, 2 years' time, 3 years' time, to be one of these cards that really pops off from the set. And you look back, because every single set that you look back at, Sword and Shield, Sun and Moon, beyond that, there are cards where it's like, how was that card that cheap at one point? I think all of the cards we're going to look at have a chance to be in that category when you look back as you're into Gen 10 or whatever it may be, right? So that's where we're at. And I always tell people, if you're talking about adding a card to your collection or your investments or however you describe it in your own vernacular, in your own mind, I don't think that people should just be investing in Pokemon cards that don't love Pokemon. I don't think you should just be buying cards strictly for monetary reasons. However, if you love Pokemon and you're going to buy cards regardless, and you want to add cards to your collection, and you're going to be happy to have them in your collection even if they go to zero, this is really more for you. And this channel is really more for you than anything else. But we're going to go ahead and dive into it. So Koraidon EX from Scarlet and Violet base is my choice for the special illustration rare from the very first set of the Scarlet and Violet era. Koraidon, you got Dedenne in the foreground here. Really cute. Koraidon is the ancient version of Cyclizar. You've got Koraidon, Miraidon. The Miraidon card has received more love, more interest. It's more expensive. I think for good reason. It's just a little bit better of a card overall. But to get a box legendary special illustration rare, which you can equate that to alt art, however you want to frame it. It is a special illustration rare. It's a beautiful card. Full illustration style card. Texturing is great. Coloring is great. I don't think that you actually see the full impact on a lot of cards on these digital renderings of them. They look way better in person. Koraidon is a great example of that. Now, why is this so cheap? Scarlet and Violet base, it's really easy to pull special illustration rare cards. It just is. But the further and further you get away from Scarlet and Violet base and Scarlet and Violet in general, as we're now into the Mega Block and you'll have Gen 10 right around the corner as well. I think this Koraidon special illustration rare has a lot of room to grow, and it has gained a little bit in the last couple months. It was at $15, now it's up to, you can get it around $17 shipped to your house. I always recommend to go check out your local game store, card store, build a relationship with them as long as they're good people and good business owners. I think that can be incredibly beneficial. But my choice for Scarlet and Violet base is Koraidon. There's a lot of good options. There's a lot of special illustration rares below $10 in Scarlet and Violet base, so go check those out because it's a fun set to collect for sure. For Paldea Evolved, the second set of the Scarlet and Violet block, I have Meowscarada. There's a lot of options. Paldea Evolved is a huge set. It has a lot of special illustration rares. Most of them are very reasonably priced overall. So another fun set to look at. You have legendary Pokemon from Scarlet and Violet. You have the starters. Like the starters and the middle evolutions have illustration rares, and then the stage 2 final evolution, Meowscarada, Skeledirge, and the silly little duck have special illustration rares. Meowscarada is the middle one. You have Skeledirge in the mid 20s, getting closer to 30. Meowscarada you can get under $20, and you have whatever his name is, Quaxwell, at around $10. I think Quaxwell's the middle evolution. I really think that's such a silly Pokemon, so I try not to think about it too much. Meowscarada, though, even though it is, kind of humanoid in its form a little bit too much, in my opinion, I still think it has a chance to be a pretty popular Pokemon. And you talk about, should you look at Meowscarada? Should you look at some of the other starters? Should you look at the legendaries, Tinglu, Wo-Chen, Chien-Pao, Chi-Yu? Should you look at maybe Tinkaton, the Tinka line? I think that those are potentially really good options as well. And then you also have some, you have Magikarp, which is unbelievably expensive illustration rare. But I just went with Meowscarada because it's under $20. I do think Meowscarada is going to have some long-term appeal in Pokemon. I think that it's going to be a popular Pokemon long-term. I think Fuecoco will be as well. Fuecoco onto Skeledirge. But I think Meowscarada is a better price point overall. So that's where we went with this one, under $20. Pidgeot EX Special Illustration Rare. I think that there's a lot of undervalued cards in Obsidian Flames, and it's similar, really easy pull rates. So it's a small set and you have easy pull rates, so it's really easy to pull what you're looking for. But this card, $15. Special Illustration Rare Pidgeot that has like a full series of art by Jerky, where you've got the really cool Pidgey, and all these cards are associated with different routes in the games, which that's like iconic. If you've been playing Pokemon for a long time, all the routes like the back of your hand from when you were playing some of the original games. But Pidgeot EX Special Illustration Rare, also a playable card. I think that can help, but it's just too good, too unique to be $15. I think that clear of the three we've talked about so far, this is the one I would have circled and be really excited about. And by the way, if y'all enjoy the content, please like and subscribe. You can also check out our channel membership. It's only $2.99 a month. There's weekly member exclusive giveaways. Okay, so Giovanni's Charisma Special Illustration Rare from 151. 151, a lot of the prices are down right now. Shot up to the moon a little bit. It's kind of doing the typical, has a big pump, stagnates, falls back down a little bit, retraces a little bit. But I do think 151 singles eventually will go absolutely crazy. And a lot of them are undervalued right now. But the most undervalued to me is still Giovanni's Charisma. We've been talking about it on this channel forever. It has seen a little bit of traction, but it's still really cheap. I mean, under $14 for a Special Illustration Rare Giovanni that features Giovanni, Persian, Giovanni's plotting and scheming, got his Pokeball there, a Master Ball casually chilling on the side table, living in the lap of luxury, it looks like Giovanni is. It's such a cheap card. I personally do love the Erica's Invitation card just as much or more. Special Illustration Rare, very botanical scene. And, the Alakazam is like $50 right now. I still think there's a lot of Special Illustration Rare love to be had in 151. So this was a really interesting one. I for a lot of these sets, I tried to go with something that was on the cheaper side of most of the Special Illustration Rares. But Altaria is actually the most expensive Special Illustration Rare in Paradox Rift. Why did I go with it? This card has been $70 before, not too long ago. In March when everything was kind of hitting its all-time highs, this was a $70 card. I do believe Altaria is a popular Pokemon. I think this is a fantastic art. It also connects with the Swablu art from the same set, the Swablu Illustration Rare. The colors, I always talk about, when you have blues and greens on a Special Illustration Rare with those textures, it really pops. I just think this card has a lot of the key contributing factors that end up, you look back and you're like, gosh, that card is $120. I can't believe people were buying it in the 40s. And, it actually was down into the mid 30s for a while too, but it's back up a little bit. So I do think Altaria is a fantastic one to pick up at this point. Iono, Paldean Fates was a difficult one because you don't have a lot of Special Illustration Rares. In fact, you only have 3 Special Illustration Rare Pokemon. Each of those cards is very expensive already. Is there room to grow for them? Probably. Bubble Mew is retracing a good bit. So is the Charizard. You've got the Gardevoir, which is kind of lagging behind those two, but still up close to $150, I think. But the Iono card, I talk about for special illustration rare trainer cards to really hit for me. Usually, I want to see a Pokemon or multiple Pokemon in that card with the trainer, interacting with the trainer. You have that in the Giovanni. You also have that in spades with the Iono card here, which is a really unique art style, color palette, all that stuff. You have Miss Magius, you have Magnemite, you have Bellibolt, you have Luxio, Wattrel. You have these neon pastel colors, which is a really unique combination. And this card is under $30. It's been a lot more in the past. I think it's also Iono, I think, is a trainer that will have some lasting impact on the TCG and popularity and playable card as well. So all that stuff combined, I think you could look back and say, wow, I can't believe this card was in the $20, under $30. So mid to high 20s right now, Iono. Iron Leaves from Temporal Forces. Temporal Forces has a lot of great cards in my opinion. Some of the best ones are actually illustration rares. Look at Ghastly. But Iron Leaves, this card is beautiful. Future version of Virizion. This card is just so sick. The color palette, the giant moon in the background, the jagged edges of the landscape here, kind of really flowing with the art style of Iron Leaves leaping. It's a really good one in my opinion, and you can get it at like $25 right now for a special illustration rare. Are these Paradox Pokemon going to be the most popular Pokemon from the Scarlet and Violet era? Probably not. I personally think it's a very cool gimmick or feature of the Scarlet and Violet era, the future and ancient Pokemon. Not all of them hit. I do think this Iron Leaves is really cool. I do. I like a lot of the ancient Mons more than the modern ones, future ones, but I do think that this is a card that just at $25, I just don't think you can go wrong with adding such a beautiful card to your collection. And the pull rates did start to get a lot more difficult mid-era Scarlet and Violet. Kieran for Twilight Masquerade. They're just simply, for me, in Twilight Masquerade, there's not a lot of good special illustration rares. You have the Greninja, which is a crazy card, awesome card. But then you have the different Mask of Ogerpon cards, which are not my cup of tea. I don't think that they're very popular in general. You have some trainer cards. Kieran, pretty cheap overall. You can get it in the low to mid 20s. And this is a card that really does represent Scarlet and Violet. The festival, you've got a lot of Pikachu love going on. You've got the mask. It's not a card I need for my personal collection, but if I'm looking at it compared to some of the other cards in the set, special illustration rare wise, that's kind of the direction I went. And I did not feel good about it, to be completely honest with you. But that's the game we're playing here. But full transparency, it was difficult to pick from Twilight Masquerade. It really was. Maybe Greninja is just the way to go, even though it's just insanely expensive. Cassiopeia, I did feel good about from Shrouded Fable. This card had been the most expensive card in the set at one point. Special illustration rare. Cassiopeia, the overlay is cool where it's like you're looking at Cassiopeia from behind the computer screen. Cassiopeia, also Penny from the Scarlet and Violet games. You've got Sylveon chilling in the background. Sylveon's my favorite Pokemon, so that hits as well. But this is a card that you can get right at $30 now. It's been over $50 before. If you take a look back, let's see here. Yeah, right around $50, $50+ dollars when it came out last year. I think that it can certainly have some growth here. Shrouded Fable, notoriously bad for its special illustration rare Pokemon cards. The Loyal 3 and Pecharunt, the card style just did not hit. Illustration rares, beautiful from this set. But we're not talking illustration rares right now. We're talking special illustration rares. And the next set was also kind of a struggle for me. Stellar Crown. I personally love Doxbun. I have a dachshund at home. She's sitting right here. If y'all watch the channel a lot, you see her. I love Terapagos as well. I think both of those could do well. I think the Hydrapple could do well. But I just went with the one that was in the cheapest price bracket that I think is a beautiful art that has a chance. I mean, could this card, you can get it for like $16 right now. Could this be a $30+ card in the future? I think it could. I know Galvantula is not a massive hit Pokemon, but it's a beautiful art. I love the style of the art. Joltik is cute, popular. That's the one I went with. Didn't love it, but that's the one I went with. Next one, I am a huge fan of, and it was actually a hard choice between a Alolan Executor and Hydreigon for Surging Sparks. But I went with the Alolan Executor. It's another really good art. You know, you've got the Stellar Pokemon gimmick happening now, starting in Stellar Crown. Alolan Executor. It's a beautiful art. It's a fun Pokemon. I think Executor, you know, original 151, even if the Alolan variant. I think the Alolan variant is probably actually more popular than the original Executor. It hits. Cool color palette. Really, the textures pop on the, you know, terastallized, tree frame of Executor here. And it's $30. It's been a lot more expensive in the past. I mean, you look at the price chart, it really bombed after March down into the 30s. Now it's right about $30, but this card was in the 70s, 60s, 50s for a long time. I think Alolan Executor is definitely a good pickup. Iron Valiant, I went with Prismatic. Prismatic has so many special illustration rares and no illustration rares. A little tough with this one. And so many of the cards are so expensive. This is one of the cheaper special illustration rares at right about $50. Just under $50 for Iron Valiant. I just think the art is fantastic. Same artist who just did the Charizard for Phantasmal Flames that everybody's obsessed with. I think this is one of the best arts in the entire set. Iron Valiant is the future version of, Gardevoir / Gallade, and you have the association with Gardevoir, incredibly popular Pokemon, beautiful art, under $50 again for Prismatic. That's, it's all relative in Pokemon. For Prismatic, this is the one I went with. Although I think you could look at a lot of the cards and say, could this double in value in the future? Yeah. Salamence EX for Journey Together. This is the second most expensive card in the set, behind Lily's Clefairy. It's about half the price of Lily's Clefairy now, though. It's about $70. This card was in the 90s, over 100 for a while, in the 80s for a long time now. Again, it's right around $70. I just think this Salamence, even though Journey Together's theme is obviously like trainers Pokemon, Lily's Clefairy, Hopzacian, and Zoroark, Iono's Bellibolt, all that stuff, I think that this card is the best looking card of the bunch. And having a trainer's Pokemon can be really cool when it's a popular trainer and a popular Pokemon. Lily's Clefairy and Zoroark. I don't think Iono's Bellibolt or Hopzacian has quite the cachet, but Salamence had, you have multiple Roaring Moon cards, special illustration rare cards from the Scarlet and Violet era. Now you get the standard Salamence, and I think that this card is just so cool. Beautiful sunset, got the, little flames coming out, Salamence, mountain range in the background. I think it's iconic. I think it's going to be a much more expensive card in the future. Journey Together just hasn't received the attention that a lot of other sets have. Speaking of a set that has received a lot of attention, Destined Rivals, I've got Ethan's Adventure. A lot of special illustration rares way up in price. You look at Mewtwo, Garchomp, Ho-Oh, etc. Even like Nidoking and Crobat, more than doubling the cost of Ethan's Adventure. As I mentioned, I need trainer cards to feature Pokemon, and you feature 3 really cute Pokemon. This is a iconic image, in my opinion, a nostalgic image. Pichu, Slugma, Cyndaquil just really takes you back to Gen 2. And this one, it's been more expensive than it is currently, certainly. It's down a good bit since release, but still, mid 50s, close to $60. It's not a cheap card by any stretch of the imagination. I just think it's a really good one to add to your collection. And then we get to Black Bolt and White Flare. And for Black Bolt, I went with Genesect. It was between Genesect and Kyurem, neither of which is cheap. Genesect was a little bit cheaper than Kyurem, so we went with Genesect, which is just under $60 right now. I think that this might be the most iconic Genesect card we've ever seen. It's amazing art. It looks so badass. You have the flames behind Genesect. It looks like it's just on a mission. You're getting this kind of really cool framing of Genesect out there on the platform through this door frame. Looks very futuristic. Huge fan. And then, kind of the opposite vibes here. In White Flare, Whimsicott. You can get Whimsicott in the low 20s to mid 20s. It's just cute. It's really cute. Keldeo is more in that same price range of Genesect, and I personally do love Keldeo, but I don't know that it's that popular to warrant like 3 times the value of a Whimsicott, which is just, there's a lot of people that love cute Pokemon cards. Whimsicott is incredibly cute. It just is. Bottom line. So, and like the lighting, the texture on this card, combined with the greens, the whites, off-white shades, I think it's a really cute one. So we went with Whimsicott there to round it out. This was just a fun exercise to kind of look at in my opinion, the most undervalued, underrated special illustration rares from each set in the Scarlet and Violet block. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. If you enjoy the content, please like and subscribe, and y'all have a good one.